Do you think women should be eating immediately after they exercise, and men, or is there a variance there at all?
There is a variance because when we look at what we call metabolism coming back down to baseline, so that's your overall body coming back down to its resting state. For women, it happens within 30 to 40 minutes after exercise. For men, it's 2 to 18 hours, depending on the intensity. So in that, we see that if we want to maximize our body's resistance training and muscle building capacity, we need to give it some food. We need to give it some really good hit of protein. For women who are in their reproductive years, we see 35 grams of protein post-exercise within 45 minutes. We'll tip the muscle into muscle protein synthesis. For men, it's 20 grams, and it can be 2, 4, whatever hours later. When we're looking at returning our muscle glycogen back to normal, we don't need as much carbohydrate post-exercise as a woman, as men need more because they tap more into their stores. So the window of opportunity for women post-exercise is around that 45-minute mark, but for men, it's open a lot wider.
What about the keto diet for women?
I am kind of anti-keto for both sexes. And I say this because when we look at the gut microbiome, that is so important. We see a decrease in diversity as we become more and more, I guess, city dwelling, and we are having less and less of variety in our food chain.
Mhm.
We have to take care of the gut microbiome. If we look at the ketogenic diet and the high fat intake that comes with it, it significantly decreases that gut microbiome diversity, which reduces the body's ability to synthesize vitamins, to produce serotonin, to have this conversation between the gut and the brain. And for women, we're already metabolically flexible by the nature of being born with more of those endurant fibers, that there's no reason to try to do a ketogenic diet.
Could I not take a prebiotic or something, or
No.
just eat more fruits and veggies and stuff?
So if you're eating a lot of fruit and veggies.
Sorry, not fruit, veggies.
Yeah, no. If you're eating a lot of fibrous fruit and veg, then that's how we increase the diversity. Taking a probiotic pill, it just affects the upper intestines, but even that is a little bit suspect because there's only 2 to 3 companies that are making all the probiotics that are B2B. So that means business to business. And we don't really know the long-term outcome. And we can have the overgrowth of some probiotics that, again, can cause some dysbiosis.
Could I be on the keto diet and still protect my gut microbiome?
I don't think so. Not from what I've seen.
Because I thought the gut microbiome was predominantly about like plants.
It is, but you also need some protein
Mhm.
that comes from a wide variety of different sources. And the amount of fat that is taken in through a true ketogenic diet is 70 to 80% of your total intake coming from fat. And then that will cause the overgrowth of the bacteria that relies primarily on fatty acids, which downregulates all the good bacteria that relies on our fibrous fruit and veg. Because you're not going to be able to consume as much fiber as you need on a ketogenic diet to really invoke this diversity. If we're thinking about invoking diversity, you want 30 different plants across the week. And on a ketogenic diet, you're just not capable of being able to eat as much to create that diversity. And the reason why it's really important for women to have that diversity is because we have some gut bugs that are responsible for our sex hormone metabolism. So we think about estrogen, progesterone, people think, oh yeah, well, it's released from the ovaries and the adrenals and it goes and it hits our target tissues. But we have this thing called the second pass, where our sex hormones will be taken up by the liver, bound by sex hormone binding globulin, shot into the intestines through bile, unconjugated or unpacked by these little gut bugs, and then shot back out into circulation to work. If we have a lower diversity of the gut microbiome, we don't have those bugs that will help with our sex hormone reactivation and the ability for the sex hormones to work optimally.